It's nAtCh poTeS time, team. It is nAtCh poTeS time. I'm excited. So we are up to PC Mac patch notes version 9.2.5 for update 40 in Elder Scrolls Online. Moldy, yes, I got served moldy food over the weekend, which really sucked. I took Tom to the doctor's to get his stitches out, and he was like, I want McDonald's. And I was like, cool, no worries, man. Let's get you McDonald's. You just had stitches out. That sucks. I got home, and we were eating it, and I was halfway through, and I looked at the bottom of my burger, and there was mold. And you can't make things from McDonald's go moldy unless you've got some serious stock rotation issues. So that was gross. I've had a great couple of days, team. I've had a great couple of days. I really, really have. But that's okay. Things get better from here, right? Moldy food, audio broke, PC broke even more, lost everything, and then only got back my OBS. I have no spoons left. But you know what I do have left? My voice. So we're gonna read some patch notes. Thank you, Gina Bruno, community manager, for all of the wonderful things that you put forward for us. Welcome to the Elder Scrolls Online. Update 40 features the new PvE gameplay activity Endless Archive, where you must battle your way through dynamic stages with monsters and bosses you've encountered all throughout Tamriel. Endless Archive can be played solo or with a friend or companion and gives you the opportunity to obtain all sorts of new loot and collectibles, including new class item sets, a unique mount, and more. Alongside Endless Archive comes a new group finder tool, which is super exciting, allowing you an easy way to advertise and find groups for all sorts of in-game activities. This update also introduces new Grandmaster crafting stations, reducing the hundreds of set stations for each trade skill and consolidating them into a single set stations, along with updates and full rebalancing for jewelry crafting. Can we get some claps in chat, team? Can we get some Ms. Rad claps in chat? Because that is very exciting. We've also improved the rewards that you can obtain from the Fighters Guild, Mages Guild, and Undaunted daily quests, in addition to adding a new Patron deck for Tales of Tribute. We've limited the amount of combat balance changes in this update while we continue to evaluate changes from the previous update, but you can expect a number of bug fixes for combat abilities, item sets, and a number of areas across the entire game. The size of this update is approximately 2.78 gigabytes. Enjoy! Thank you, Gina. All right, team. That is the beginning of many, many things. So, table of contents. New features, updates, big changes. We've got new activity of Endless Archive, class item sets, new achievements and titles, new collectibles, new antiquities, new Tales of Tribute patron deck, new group finder, Grandmaster crafting stations, jewelry crafting rebalance, prologue quest bestower redistribution, improved daily quest rewards for Fighters Guild, Mages Guild, and Undaunted, updates to quest XP and gold rewards, new furnishings. And then we also have known issues. And then we also have combat and gameplay. So we've got combat and abilities, the champion system, itemization and item sets, and companions. Fixes and improvements to chapters and DLCs and base game as well. How exciting. New features and updates, the big changes. Oh my God. What happens when Zos fills out the map of Tamriel and brings all the realms of Oblivion? Will they have to start the lands beyond Tamriel elsewhere on Nirn? I don't think we have to worry about that for a while. I believe they've still got quite a lot of fill that they could be doing when it comes to the map, right? There's quite a lot, and quite a lot of stories that still haven't been told. All right, so new activity, Endless Archive. A section of Apocrypha's great library is rife with twisting pathways and endless labyrinthian halls. To wrangle the multitude of corridors and locations is an exercise in madness. And yet, Master Malkest intends to do just that and fight back against the malicious force causing chaos in the formerly peaceful archive. The books and tomes within have come alive, spilling their words into reality and attacking any interlopers. Do you have what it takes to brave the shifting nature of the Endless Archive, traverse the maze-like passages, and defeat the Archive's enemies? Venture forth solo or with a friend and brave the ever-increasing dangers for rewards bestowed by the Daedric Prince of Knowledge himself. You mean like in 100 years? Because if ESO is around in 100 years, I'm sure they'll figure out something by then. True. So in Endless Archive, you are tasked with venturing into the ever-changing halls to battle a random assortment of enemies from throughout Tamriel. Most of these enemies have been seen and battled before, but not like this. Enemies increase in difficulty after each completed stage, and rewards and challenges increase the deeper into the archive that you reach. You are not without help, though, in the form of Mora's boons, verses and visions. Verses are powerful boons that last for the next stage only and can turn the tide of battle. Visions are long duration boons only available after defeating a boss, but persist for the entirety of your run. Choosing which verse and which vision is integral to your success in Endless Archive. Endless Archive can be accessed in one of two ways. For those that own Necrom, you can head north from Spirian Tarn Wayshrine along the coast of Apocrypha. And for people that don't own the Necrom chapter, navigate to the icon on your map for Apocrypha and use that to enter. Each new run starts from the beginning. No saving, no starting again, so planning and preparation are key. There are 3 ways to play: solo, with a companion, or with a friend. There are 2 leaderboards for Endless Archive. One is for solo players, and one is for duos. Rewards are offered to adventurers who delve the furthest. New class sets are available to find and acquire in the Endless Archive, which are detailed in the next section below, so we'll go through that shortly. Curation rules in the Endless Archive dictate that you will find your class's set item first. After receiving the possible entirety of your class item set, you will get drops from other classes. The further you progress in Endless Archive, the greater the rewards do scale up, as well as the chance of receiving them. A new currency, Archival Fortunes, can be found while adventuring in the Endless Archive. This currency is exclusive to the Endless Archive and is used by its caretakers and filers to exchange for goods. In the lore, there are actually infinite realms of Oblivion. It's just the ones that are controlled by princes that are often seen in game. True. ESO hasn't even filled out the main land. There are areas like the Ghost Fence, Vivek City Underworks, Mournhold Tunnels that are all yet to be filled. I'm really not worried about running out of content. I don't think anyone is, to be fair. There's a lot of content to be made, especially at the... They put out a pretty decent cadence of content when it comes to new areas. It's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a while. ESO Plus members will receive a 10% bonus to all archival fortunes. Heck yeah, love to see that. That's really nice that there is an addition to the ESO Plus membership that does include itself in the Endless Archive. That's really nice. Because that hasn't really had please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that's had a really huge update for a very long time. Obviously ESO Plus in itself with the craft bag, like, that's a huge addition. So it's nice that considering you get 10% extra XP, 10% extra gold, they're also going in and being like, hey, here's 10% of the archival fortunes, because you can only get it by playing the game. It's not like a passive thing. So that's nice. The reagent bag alone makes Plus worth it, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm the same. About 2 weeks into playing the game, when I first started, I was like, I would like ESO Plus, please. Who's my yearly ESO Plus members out there? Yeah. Show of hands. More stuffs for your dollary dues. Nibble, you are correct. Filer's Tezors, again, I'm so sorry if I'm saying these wrong. So Filer's Tezors and Ool are Watcher merchants found in the Endless Archive, and they both deal in archival fortunes. Tezors offers support for adventurers in Endless Archive and also acts as this update's achievement furniture. Ooh, achievement furnishings! Consumables can be bought to gain a verse while running the Endless Archive. You can also purchase boxes containing items from class sets if you so choose. Crafters may wish to take advantage of the boxes and sacks of profession-related crafting materials that are for sale. For the more accomplished explorers and adventurers, permanent upgrades are available for purchase to help make diving into the Endless Archive easier. There's also a lockbox for those who simply prefer cold, hard cash. Ool has a continually rotating, eclectic set of wares from week to week. You can expect to find treasure maps, antiquity leads, monster set style pages, companion gear boxes, lore book furnishings, and assorted achievement and dungeon fragments for sale. This is a very exciting update. This Ool character, I look forward to meeting them. That's very awesome. All right, we've got class item sets. A new form of item sets are here that you can earn from the Endless Archive. There are 7 sets in total, each focusing on a specific skill line from each of ESO's 7 classes. These sets all come in weights of light, medium, and heavy. Basalt Blooded Warrior. This is the Dragonknight Earthen Heart set. Adds 129 Magicka recovery, adds 1206 maximum health, adds 129 weapon and spell damage. And with all 5 on, casting an Earthen Heart ability grants you a rock stance buff for 10 seconds. While on your front bar, you gain Molten Stance, granting you major heroism, generating 4 ultimate every 1.5 seconds. While you're on your back bar, you gain Obsidian Stance, increasing your healing done and damage shields by 14%. Bar swapping will swap your stance automatically. Wrath Sun, Templars, Dawn's Wrath. So the first couple, we've got adds 129 weapon and spell damage, adds 657 critical chance, and adds 129 weapon and spell damage. And with all 5 pieces, when you deal damage with a Dawn's Wrath ability, gain a stack of sunlight for 10 seconds once per attack. You can have 40 stacks maximum and gain 12 Magicka recovery per stack. When at max stacks, your Dawn's Wrath abilities deal 25% bonus damage, and a Wrathful Nova is automatically cast on the enemy, but you cannot refresh Sunlight. When Sunlight expires at max stacks, you lose 50% of your current Magicka. Oh my gosh. Developer comment, Wrathful Nova uses the same radius, damage, and other effects of Nova, and it is cast on the last enemy that you dealt damage using a Dawn's Wrath ability when you've reached 50 stacks of sunlight. That's a lot of light. Monolith of Storms, Sorcerer, Storm Calling set. So for the first couple, we've got adds 657 critical chance, adds 129 weapon and spell damage, and then again adds 129 weapon and spell damage with all 5 pieces. Dealing damage with a Storm Calling ability, initial hit or every 5th tick creates a monolith near the enemy for 10 seconds, up to 1 every 1 second. You may have up to 3 monoliths at a time. Monoliths link to other monoliths. Boop, boop, boop. Monoliths within 28 meters of each other, each link and deal 3,064 shock damage every 2 seconds to enemies between them or near them. An enemy can only take damage from this set once every 2 seconds. So, every Storm Calling ability can trigger this set on initial damage, but damage over time Storm Calling abilities will also trigger this set every 5th tick of damage. The monoliths you create will only link to your other monoliths. Soul Cleaver, Nightblade, Siphoning. The first couple give adding 129 weapon and spell damage, adding 1,206 maximum health, and again adding 129 weapon and spell damage. With all 5 pieces, while in combat, strengthen your Siphoning abilities at the cost of your ultimate. Increase the damage and healing of Siphoning abilities by 18%. Reduce the cost of Siphoning abilities by 18%. Casting a Siphoning ability while in combat drains you of a 1% of your current ultimate with a minimum of 1. Okay. So as long as you have 1, you can lose 1. Who knew? You must have at least 20 ultimate and be in combat to gain any effect from this set. I mean, yeah, that kind of makes sense. That kind of makes sense. I get that. What do you mean you have to be in combat to gain something from a set that's about... That makes... ridiculous. Ridiculous. The next set that we've got is Gardener of the Seasons. Warden, green balance. With the first couple of the set, it adds 4% healing done, adds 129 Magicka recovery, and adds 129 weapon and spell damage. With all 5, equipping this set grants you Herald of Spring, causing your green balance overheals to apply minor heroism for 3 seconds. Casting 2 non-green balance abilities within 2 seconds consumes Herald of Spring and grants you Harbinger of Fall for 6 seconds, causing your green balance overheals to create an 8-meter area for 5 seconds, applying Major Cowardice to enemies and Minor Vitality to allies within it. You can only create an area once every 5 seconds, and you cannot gain Herald of Spring while Harbinger of Fall is active. Oh, I love this name. Nobility in Decay, Necromancer, Bone Tyrant. So for the first couple of sets, we've got adds 1206 maximum health, adds 4% healing taken, and adds 1206 maximum health again. Casting a Bone Tyrant ability while in combat grants you Beautiful Corpse for 16 seconds. Who named that? Reducing your damage by 5% and increasing your armor by 2,974, and grants up to 12% healing taken and reduces your damage taken by up to 12%, both of which are based on your missing health. This can proc once every 20 seconds and is reduced by 2 seconds for each slotted Bone Tyrant ability. Casting a Corpse Consumer ability consumes Beautiful Corpse, treating you as a corpse. Okay. You know what I'm not liking about these class sets? They imply that the classes are intended for specific roles. Technically, a lot of the classes are intended for specific roles, but they have the ability to do technically whatever you want. But the design of, like, and this is just my opinion, but the design of classes would stem from specifically going, this class would be really good at this thing. This is a role that they would definitely fill. And then these are all the other things that they can do well. Because that's how raid teams are set up. That's why there's certain classes that are always going to be like the best option for tanking, the best option for healing, and all that sort of stuff. Like that is exactly how the design of these things work. I don't think they imply that. I think they're just leaving room for future class specific sets. That is a really good way to put it as well. The set would make it seem that the Necro is meant to be a tank. But what's necessarily wrong with that? I believe they said that they'd be making sets for each class and skill line. Yeah. And certain skill lines do certain things better than others. It all makes sense for the skill line. They are meant to enhance the skill line. Nobility and Decay sounds like the perfect Dead Inside set. Yes, edgy and emo. Oh, I love that. Oh my God. I wonder if we can wear 2 of the sets then. That'd be cool. I assume as long as you're on the same class, the class specific sets, when and if they do put out more of the class specific sets, I don't see what would stop you from wearing multiple. They're still just a set. Set buffs aren't stopped at only wearing 1 full set. So it would make sense that you probably would be able to. Not a bad thing that some classes do some things better than others as long as they all reach a certain benchmark. Yeah, for sure. The next one is Reawakened Hierophant, Arcanist, Curative Runeform. The first couple add 731 maximum magicka each time. So does that 3 times. That's a lot of max mag. With the entire set on, casting a non-ultimate Curative Runeform ability grants an effect for 6 seconds to your affected allies based on how many crux that you had. At 1 crux, allies gain a damage shield that absorbs 3,618 damage. At 2 crux, allies gain minor heroism. And at 3 crux, allies gain major protection. So that's everyone. We've read all the things. We're about a 5th of the way through this so far. We've got a long way to go. Can we discuss how many 7s have been mentioned so far as well? New achievements and titles. There are 77 new achievements and 3 new titles in this update. 7, team. 7. The title, The Unending, can be obtained by completing the achievement Endless Archive Challenger. The title, Inkslayer, can be obtained by completing the achievement Endless Archive Conqueror. The title, The Well-Versed, can be obtained by completing the achievement No Book Left Unread. I love the names of all of those. The Well-Versed is definitely a favorite of those 3, I think. Although the Unending is very epic. So we've got new collectibles, starting with mounts. We have, I wish we had pictures. A malographic mount is available after collecting and using 50 malographic ecores and completing the ecor most malevolent achievement. They really try and do tongue twisters, don't they? Every time. We got pets, a malographic skeever. Pet is available after collecting and using 25 disgusting spoils and completing the scheming skeevers achievement. We've got face and body markings. The shattered text face marking are rewarded to those who complete That's Enough of the What achievement. The body markings are rewarded for completion of the Endless Archive Challenger achievement. The Mirror Maze face markings are awarded to those who collect and use 20 unreliable archive maps and complete the Peer into the Mirror Maze achievement. The body markings are awarded for completion of the Walk Through the Mirror Maze achievement accomplished by collecting and using 20 erroneous archive maps. Mementos, the Summoned Booknado is awarded to those who complete the Give Me Some Mora achievement. The Malkest's Accursed Mirror is awarded to those who complete the I Got Some Mora achievement. Oh my god. Oh my god, these names are brilliant. Outfits. We've got Red Rook Bandits, bound style pages. They're available from Telvar merchants. Ooh, an update for Telvar merchants. Frandar's Tribute style pages are available from Playing Tales of Tribute. New loot from Tales of Tribute. Let's go. I still don't have all of the tapestries, but that's fine. Zos is joining us in the Mora puns. Indeed they are. Indeed they are. And we've got dies. The Arc Master Moss die is available after completing the Arcing Onward achievement. New Antiquities. There are 31 Antiquities in total for this update. Many leads are found in Endless Archive, including Apocryphal Clothier Station, Vision of Mora, Infinite Tome, Archival Fortune Stashes. In addition, you may come across new leads in the following zones: Reaper's March, Glenumbra, Alakir Desert, Deshan, Shadowfen, Gold Coast, Clockwork City, Somerset, Northern Elsewhere, Southern Elsewhere, and the Deadlands. New Tales of Tribute Patron deck. We've added a new patron deck for Tales of Tribute found in the Endless Archive. It stands to reason that within the myriad of mazy halls of the Endless Archive, a cultural curiosity can be uncovered. A game amongst mortals, Tales of Tribute has indeed ended up in the seemingly infinite of the archive. Why wouldn't it? Further, the mortals adopted their own patron with its own rules, paying homage to the Daedric Prince of Forbidden Knowledge, Hermaeus Mora. Uncover the deck and its fragments within the shelves and books of the Endless Archive and play with newfound power to defeat your opponent. Be wary, however, as is always the case with the Daedric Prince, such powerful knowledge comes at a price. And in this case, cards that help you can also help your opponent. Ooh, that is exciting. The new group finder tool. We've added a new tool. It's not me. It's not Rad. We've added a new tool to help you easily find other players to group with as a solo or partially filled group. You can access the new group finder through the group and activity finder menu. Note that this helps you find other players that want to do the same activities as you. It is not a queuing system. Searching for a group. After navigating to Group Finder, select a category that does interest you, and currently the Group Finder supports the following categories: Dungeon, Trial, Endless Archive, Arena, PvP, Zone, and of course Custom. The results displayed are heavily influenced by the role that you identify as: damage, tank, or healer. By default, any group you see is a group that you can join. If you want to find a more specific group, there are several filters available to search for criteria such as CP requirements, voice chat, difficulty, and more. Creating a group listing. Now this is where I'm interested. You can also create a group listing for others to join. Note that you must be the group leader to create a group listing. After pressing the create button, give your listing a name, select what activity you want to do with the group, and you can specify additional criteria that your ideal group members should meet to join that group. You can either allow anyone into your group or have other players apply to join your group so that you can check their class and level and role. You can edit non-crucial details of your group listing after it is created. That is honestly really exciting. It's an LFG in game, and it doesn't necessarily have to be just for those like activities, because there's custom as well. So that is really, really exciting. Speaking of excitement, Grandmaster crafting stations. Are you proud of your enormous collection of item set stations, but find yourself frustrated by how much space and furnishing count they do take up? Have you ever wished that there was a way to take the dozens and dozens of set stations for a trade skill and squish them together into a single all-in-one station? Well, good news for brand new top tier crafting stations to consume your attuned stations and host them in a unified space are coming to your local Alliance furnisher. I just need to clap because it's something that so many of us have asked for. So many of us have been like, hey, could we have like a single station that does them all, or a single set of stations that does them all, or even just like one station per, like most of us had gotten to the point of being like, can we just have one station per set? Just one station per set, because that also cuts it. Like three are gone per set. That's a huge cut in itself. This is like the absolute best case scenario, other than just a one single like crafting station. Just having the one set. Oh my God, that's amazing. So happy, so stoked. 11 out of 10. Thank you so much for this update. So many of us have been rooting for this for so long. So each of these can be purchased for 1,500 writ vouchers from Faustina Curio in Eldenroot, Wayrest, or Monhold, provided you've completed the Unsurpassed Crafter achievement. As new craftable sets are released, you'll be able to attune those and feed them into the Grandmaster stations as well. The gorgeous looks for these superlative crafting stations improve based on the number of different crafting stations that they have absorbed, so unlock them all. That is also very exciting, so they will actually look different based on how many crafting stations they've consumed. That's really cool. That's a nice little touch to sort of show your progression. Because for a lot of people, this is a new thing that they're going to be like, now I'm excited to collect those things. Now I don't have to worry about space. I could make a crafting hall in my snug pod. How exciting is that? Very good update. I know that a lot of people are going to be listening to this and being like, why are you so excited about that of all things? It is really exciting, especially for those that do host crafting halls and guild halls with crafting halls attached to them, to just now have in total, 7 crafting stations, just 7 crafting stations, and that's it. So guild halls and crafting halls and community spaces can now become the beautiful expressions of the people that have created them, which is really, really exciting. Jewelry crafting rebalance. Jewelry crafting has long been a special case compared to other gear crafting types. With this update, we are bringing it back in line with other crafting with a few major changes. Firstly, we're doing away with those pesky jewel crafting grains. Existing jewelry crafting plating will be converted into 10 platings, and every jewelry crafting grain will become a plating. No more need to collect grains, refine them into plating to then improve your rings and amulets. Secondly, the boosters needed to upgrade jewelry has been increased to match that of other crafting types. The result of these two changes is upgrading rings and amulets will be much easier. These core changes ripple out to other areas as well. Notably, Master Crafter writs are being rebalanced to account for this huge change in costing to craft. Existing crafting writs will be unchanged, but new ones will use a rebalanced formula. Prologue quest Bestower Redistribution. As part of our ongoing efforts to declutter the early game areas for the benefit of new players, Prologue bestowers that are present in-world have been shuffled about. As a rule, most prologues, with a few exceptions, due to either their relative isolation or knock-on effects from moving them, will be present in only one location as thematically and situationally appropriate. Upon accepting any prologue quest through any bestowal method, you'll receive a small pop-up on the bottom right warning that you've accepted a prologue quest. All prologues are still accessible through the Crown Store quest data entries as normal. The new locations for any moved prologue quest bestowers are of Knives and Long Shadows, Clockwork City prologue, the best one, Mages Guild of Vivek City, Vardenfell, the Ravenwatch Inquiry, Markarth prologue, outside of Evermore in Bankerai, near the Way Shrine, the Missing Prophecy, Vardenfell prologue, Mournhold, Deshan, the Demon Weapon, Elsewhere prologue in Rulkar, Reaper's March, Immortal's Touch, Blackwood prologue, the Hollow City, Cold Harbour, an Apocalyptic Situation, Deadlands prologue, Belkarth, Craglorn, Ascending Doubt, High Isle prologue, Wayrest, Stormhaven, Ruthless Competition, Murkmire prologue, Stormhold, Shadowfen, Sojourn of the Druid King, Firesong prologue, Evermore, Bankerai, the Coven Conspiracy, Greymoor prologue, Riften, the Rift, the Dragon Guard's Legacy, Dragonhold prologue, Sentinel, Alakir Desert, Eye of Fate, Necrom prologue, Sadrith Mora, Vardenfell. Additional prologues may be shuffled about in future updates to keep the streets of Daggerfall, Wayrest, Davin's Watch, Mournhold, Volkelgard, and Eldenroot free and clear of stray people pestering you for help. That's a great sentence. We like this sentence. That's a good one. That's a good one. Improved daily quest rewards for Fighters Guild, Mages Guild, and Undaunted. The rewards provided for the daily quests, not pledges, for these three guilds, if you can call Undaunted a guild and not a motley collection of insane fools, have been completely revised. With some key differences between the guild's preferred loot, the coffers will now contain a random assortment of the following: companion gear, overland set gear from the zone to which the quest takes you, ornate gear, gold, deconstructible equipment. This prioritizes a trait you do not have researched yet, or intricate if you've already researched all traits for that item. This does not include Nirnhoned. Jewelry only drops with robust, arcane, or healthy traits. A selection of random crafting materials, a small chance for a new guild commendation, which upon consuming grants you a small amount of reputation with the guild. These can be traded and stacked. That is exciting. Also a chance for the Draugr motif style page with an exceedingly tiny chance at the whole motif book. Drops for the Fighters Guild daily prioritize heavy armor, 1- and 2-handed axes, 1- and 2-handed maces, and shields. Drops for the Mages Guild daily prioritize light armor and all staff type weapons. And drops for Undaunted prioritize medium armor, 1- and 2-handed swords, daggers, and bows. That is a really cool little change up. I like that. May not be like a huge deal, but for those that do those dailies or maybe haven't done them in a while, it could reinvigorate some of that, which is exciting. Updates to Quest XP and gold rewards in an effort to standardize the XP and gold rewards of quests based on their categories. A mass audit was conducted across all quests in the game. This categorization gets a little fiddly, and exactly how much XP and gold you get is based on your current character level, but the general breakdown of what kinds of quests gets you what kind of rewards are as follows. Maximum possible gold and XP rewards from zone stories, main stories, prologues, battleground quests. Let me try that again. Battleground quests. I can say that right. Battleground quests, trial quests. High gold and XP rewards, most objective point of interest quests, incursion daily quests like dragons, etc. World boss daily quests, dungeon quests, dungeon pledge quests, public dungeon quests. Please someone else say quests. The amount of times I've said the word quests today, I can feel my tongue just like, bleh. I'm done with you. Please stop this. Bleh. Quest bleh. Sorry. Anyway, moving on. I just needed to share that I was struggling. High gold and XP quests is what we just read. So standard gold and XP rewards, miscellaneous zone content quests, fighters, mage, undaunted daily quests, delve daily quests, low gold and XP rewards from event quests, minimum possible gold and XP rewards from trivial and vector quests, the kind that exists only to direct you from one place to another. Minimum possible XP, maximum possible gold is basic crafting writs. Maximum possible XP, standard gold from master crafting writs. I'm glad that hasn't changed. Any Cyrodiil quests were left alone from what they were previously set to. Next up is new furnishings, Endless Archive furnishings, 71 new furnishing plans, which can be acquired via the vendors from the Endless Archive or from chests in the Endless Archive. 11 new achievement furnishings that can be earned from the Endless Archive achievements and purchased from the Endless Archive vendors. 14 new antiquity furnishings with its leads acquirable from the Endless Archive and excavatable in the Telvanni Peninsula zone. 65 new interactable book furnishings, which can be acquired via the vendors from the Endless Archive. 7 new furnishings, which can be acquired from chests in the Endless Archive. 16 new home good furnishings, which can be purchased from the Telvanni Peninsula's home good vendor. 4 new Tales of Tribute tapestry furnishings, which can be acquired from the Tribute Victory coffers. Some of our older zones are receiving a number of new furnishings to bring them up to our updated reward standards. These zones and updates include the following. Alakir Desert has 1 new purple antiquity furnishing. Clockwork City has 1 new purple antiquity furnishing and 4 new interactable book furnishings. Cold Harbour has 4 new interactable book furnishings. Deshan has 1 new purple antiquity furnishing. Glenumbra has 1 new purple antiquity furnishing. The Gold Coast has 1 new purple antiquity furnishing and 4 new interactable book furnishings. Hughes Bane has 3 new interactable book furnishings. Northern Elsewhere has 1 new purple antiquity furnishing and 4 new interactable book furnishings. Reba's March has 1 new purple antiquity furnishing. Shadowfen has 1 new purple antiquity furnishing. Southern Elsewhere has 1 new purple antiquity furnishing and 4 new interactable book furnishings. Somerset has 1 new purple antiquity furnishing, 4 new interactable book furnishings, and the Deadlands has 1 new purple antiquity furnishing, and Rothgar has 4 new interactable book furnishings. Whew! Say that 7 times fast, team. Good lord. Please give us more furnishing slots. Again, that is not tied to what people want. It is tied to what older consoles that are still meant to be able to play ESO are capable of. 65 new books. That means my library. Oh, your library's already full. Oh no. All right, you're gonna have to remove 65 items. All right, next up, team. We're almost halfway. I forget how much words are in these things. Gina, I appreciate you. My voice does not, though. Known issues, audio, combat. Assassin's Blade, Teleport Strike, and Flurry abilities are currently missing some of their impact sound effects. Twin Slashes is currently missing part of its sound effects for the weapon Whooshes. Such a good word. Whoosh. Such a good word. Combat and gameplay. Class sets. Refreshing the Basalt-Blooded Warrior stances on your front bar currently removes your major heroism buff received from being in your front bar stance. This will be fixed in a future incremental patch. The UI. Group Finder. There may be rare cases when the Group Finder returns incomplete or out-of-date results, particularly when the game is under a heavy load. If you run into a situation, please manually refresh your search. We plan to fix this in an upcoming incremental patch. Fair enough. Combat and gameplay. Our final update of the year is finally upon us, bringing many new toys to collect, content to do, and on the combat side, audits and bug fixing. In the previous update, we found a lot of opportunities that needed additional scheduling and time to work on and hammer out the details, so we're continuing much of what you saw from update 39. The main focuses that we've worked on are continuing to improve area of effects from players' abilities and item sets to use more performant and consistent technology and setups, and improving targeting of helpful effects to stop going to those pesky pets instead of their owners. We've also made a small pass to some ultimate abilities to make them feel a little more impactful by adjusting their target caps, squash some particularly frustrating combat bugs that got your character stuck in not so great states, as well as other miscellaneous tunes and tweaks. Don't expect a lot of balance adjustments this update. We're slowing down to let changes to values and functionalities bake a little longer so we can get more robust data and patterns before adjusting anything. But that doesn't mean that there are none to be had this update. With that, below are the fixes and adjustments in this update, particularly precise and verbose compared to usual, to try and reduce some of the confusion that we've seen from previous lighter presentations. Stay safe, and we hope to see you all in Tamriel. Who redeemed Rad Reads for this? Ugh. Me. I did this to myself. Combat and abilities, the general section. Fixed an issue where some tooltips would fail to appear properly while Gamepad UI was active. Fixed a rare issue where you could become unable to light or heavy attack and would instead rapidly twitch as if you had more caffeine than your mortal form or any Daedric entity for that matter could handle. Fixed an issue where the damage from siege weaponry could trigger many conditional requirements such as vicious death when you killed an enemy. Fixed an issue where activating some movement abilities such as critical charge could disable your ability to jump for prolonged periods of time. Not my ability to jump? How could I ever be a gamer if I can't jump? Ah! Not able to jump? How will we communicate though? True. All right, where were we? Oh yes, we lost our ability to communicate through jumping, but that's been fixed. Fantastic. Abilities that override into other abilities in special situations may now differentiate their tooltips based on the state that their ability is in. For example, Stone Fist now has separate tooltips for its initial area effect cast and its single target charge casts. These distinctions can only be seen when you hover over the ability on your ability bar. The base ability seen in your skill book will always describe as much behavior that the ability does between all versions, similar to before. Fixed an issue where some player-sourced effects that visually disappeared could remain active after their caster died. This affects the following abilities. Okay, that is a list of abilities, team. Agony Totem, Blood Altar and Morphs, Circle of Protection and Morphs, Daedric Mines and Morphs, Dommerhouse, Drugger's Rest, Eternal Hunt, Fire Rune and Morphs, Flame Blossom, Grand Healing and Morphs, Hagraven's Garden, Elambris, Manifestation of Terror, it's just my life, Necrotic Orbs and Morphs, Night Flame, Pillar of Nirn, Celastrix, Siege Shield and Morphs, Stormfist, Trapping Webs and Morphs, Trap Beast and Morphs, Tremor Scale, Widowmaker. I didn't know that they did a crossover with Overwatch. That's crazy. Fixed an issue where certain attacks would only deal damage to 6 enemies rather than hitting all enemies in the area, but only applying their secondary effects to up to 6 enemies. This affects the following abilities: Ice Storm and Morphs, Niraneth, Celastrix, Tremor Scale. Heckin' nerfed Widowmaker again? Heck! Manifestation of Terror, aka it's the go live button. Too real, Soulstar, too real. Adjusted a few more area of effect under the hood setups to improve their performance, including the following: Combustion Synergy, Daedric Mines and Morphs, Eternal Hunt, Grave Grasp and Morphs, Magma Incarnate, Ricochet's Skulls Final Cast, Shrouded Daggers, Trapping Webs and Morphs, Triminax Valor. Oh my god, Nibble! One of your family members is here. Fixed an issue where some synergies were considered to be class abilities whilst others were not. They will now only be considered synergies and will not inherit specific bonuses or interact with class abilities or skill lines. Updated many ally and group targeted player abilities to no longer target pets under the following conditions. When stamina, magicka, or ultimate is granted to a target, since pets cannot benefit from these effects. When a bonus, stat, or buff is granted that the pet would naturally inherit from their parent, such as Major or Minor Berserk. Ultimate abilities that target allies now always ignore pets. All item sets that target allies now ignore pets unless the set intentionally call out pet interactions. Affected changes include the following. That is a list. That is a list. Are you ready? Holy, that is quite the list, team. Let me just have some water first. Class passives that grant minor buffs such as Mountain's Blessing, Absorption, Field's Heal, Abyssal Brace, Aegis of Gallenway, now only targets group members, Almalexia's Mercy, Apocryphal Inspiration, Arcanist Domain and Morphs named buffs, Arcasis, wait, am I saying that right? Arcasis Genius, that me, right? Yes, me? Automated Defense, Barrier and Morphs, Battalion Defender, Beckoning Steel, Bone Totem and Morphs minor protections, Bone Wall and Spinal Surge synergies, Choke Thorn, Colovian Highlander, Combat Physician, Consuming Darkness and Morphs major protection, Crusader, Crypt Cannon Vestments, Curse Eater, Drake's Rush, Drago's Rest, Earthgore, Ebon Armory, and Encrasty's Behemoth. Sorry, I had to. Eye of Navantus. Let's go with that. Eye of Navantus. Fall Killer's Ward. Force Overflow. Gibbering Shelter. Gossamer. Grand Rejuvenation. Grave Guardian. Grave Inevitability. Now only targets group members. Grizzly Gourmet. Hagraven's Garden. Heaty's Hearth. Hollowfang. Inventor's Guard. Kargada. Again, hopefully I'm saying these things correctly. Now also targets only group members. Kinra's Wrath, now also only targets group members. Kyne's Wind, Lamia's Song, Lord Warden, Luna Bastion, Magma Incarnate, Magma Shell Damage Shield, Malagalag's, really? That Malagalag's Maelstrom, Malagalag, I would like that as a sound command. Malagalag. I don't care how it's said, that's how it's said now. Malagalag's Maelstrom, Master Architect, Meritorious Service, Mighty Glacier, Night Flame, Olarim, Ozazan's Inferno, Pack Leader's Minor Courage. I've never been able to say this. Okay, Panacea, Penicillin, and Morphs, Pangrit Deadmother, Pearlescent Ward, Phoenix Moth, Pillager's Prophet, Powerful Assault, Prayer Shawl, Rage of the Ursork, now only targets group members. Rallying Cry, Renewing Undeath's Purge, Rite of Passage and Morphs, Rite Master's Bond, Robes of Transmutation, Scorian's Feast, Secluded Grove and Morphs, Sentinel of Regalms, Sleet Storm and Morphs, Major Protection, Spalder of Ruin, Spellpower Cure, Spelunker Sanctuary, Stendar's Embrace, Stone's Accord, Stone Talker's Oath, Symphony of Blades, now only targets group members and calls out excludes yourself. Damn it. Cerabane's Ward, Transformative Hope, Triminax's Valor, Nibbles there again, Troll King, Vitalizing Glyphic, Vrol's Command, War Machine, Winter's Respite, Worms, Radiant, Yolnakrin. Good lord. Do you mind repeating all that? I do mind. You can either clip it or watch a YouTube video. Maybe this one. I might even turn, after all this effort, maybe we should actually turn this into a YouTube video. Develop a comment. We've long since received feedback about the frustrations of pets eating up precious target counts to abilities, since pets don't typically succumb to the call of the mortal coil as often or as easily as their owners do. What a great sentence. Since pets don't typically succumb to the call of the mortal coil as often or as easily as their owners do. To help reduce these frustration points, we've done a large pass on player abilities and item sets to make them outright bypass pets in their target grabbing where we saw the most issues and feedback being sourced from. We'll be keeping an eye on these adjustments to see if we need to go back or even double down on some target exclusions, and moving forward, we'll be following the listed situations as best as possible. Adjusted the following ultimate abilities to affect up to 12 targets rather than 6. Absorption Fields heal, consuming darkness and morphs major protection. Gibbering Shelter's damage shield, Magma Shell's damage shield. Rite of Passage and morphs heal, Secluded Grove and morphs heal over time. Sleet Storm and morphs major protection. Soul Siphons heal, Vitalizing Glyph and morphs heal. All right, develop a comment. We're updating these portions of these ultimates to help them stand out a bit more in effectiveness so that they compare better to other ultimates that already affect 12 targets, such as Barrier. Fixed a not so synergistic issue where some abilities that applied synergies, such as Imperfect Ring, could temporarily remove other effects from targets such as passives, Munda Stones, or even ESO Plus. That's an insane bug. I'm grateful that's been fixed. That's crazy. Fixed an issue where some effects that required a target to be under a certain health threshold could still apply when they should not have, such as Honor the Dead or Cleansing Revival. Buffs and debuffs. Minor Mangle fixed an issue where dragons could be affected from this debuff, unlike other boss type enemies. Rad, I'm tanking a trial group on Friday. Can I get some advice from my favorite tank? Yes, and you. I mean you. The big yellowy lines, things that you should dodge roll instead of blocking. The red lines, you should bash so that they stop doing it, unless you need to wait until a certain point to make sure you don't kill people. Also, you can block the things that have the big yellow lines, but if you need to not get hit by possibly a dot, it's better to dodge roll them. Ha 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 ha. That's all I've got for you. Keep your buffs up, wear selfish sets, because if you're learning, then you should help yourself as much as possible. Because the more that you're alive and holding taunt, the more that you're helping your team. I'm also learning to tank, so feel free to roast me. Oh, and stay hydrated. Yes, Jellyware, good point. If you want to be a good tank, stay hydrated. Wash your fucking legs too. Why is everyone writing down my advice? It's very basic shit, and it's probably shit, actually. If anyone here actually is a good tank, please feel free to provide more context to the tanking situation. Arcanist. Curative Runeforms. Chakram Shields. Fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs could be applied to hazardous plants and other trap-like objects in the world. Vitalizing Glyphic, Resonating Glyphic Morph. This morph now requires you to be in combat to activate the ultimate. Since the morph changes the target context of what you're summoning to be an attackable enemy rather than the standard allied target, we found that casting this ultimate morph has been contributing to some in-combat state confusion, where players are in combat for simply casting the ultimate, even when there are no nearby foes, while simultaneously allowing others to circumvent while in combat requirements of certain effects like item sets or special abilities. To correct both of these issues, we're making the change to require you to already be in combat before placing the ultimate. This should help remove those pesky situations where you accidentally activate the ultimate while trying to loot a chest, and then you get stuck in combat with your group. You clamp down on the pre-buffing opportunities when it's offering, while not disrupting the intended use of the ultimate to act as a powerful heal and a buff for you and your allies. Herald of the Tome. Abyssal Impact. Cephaliarch's Flail? Did I say it right? I think I said that right. Cephaliarch's Flail, Morph. Fixed an issue where this morph was not properly marked as an execute to certain bonuses or conditional requirements, like Sheer Venom. Soldier of Apocrypha. Gibbering Shield, or Gibbering, if you're from that part of the world. I don't know what part of the world you'd be in. Gibbering Shelter, Morph. This morph's ally targeted shield now can trigger once every 4 seconds rather than once every second. This morph is currently enabling far more defensive power to allies than others of its ilk, such as Barrier or Magma Shell, so we're reducing the frequency of the shield refresh to counteract this. We'll continue to keep an eye on the morph over the update to see if we need to investigate further adjustments, as we are aware of its power in group play when multiple players are activating it simultaneously. Runes of Eldritch Horror. This ability and its morphs now properly display a debuff on enemy targets to warn them of the incoming crowd controlling effects. Fixed an issue where these abilities could not be purged to prevent their effects. Improved how these abilities complete their delay timers to be more uniform with other delays, such as Rune Prison. to make them feel more fluid and responsive to break free or to react to. Next up is Dragonknight. Ardent Flame Inferno. This ability and its morph's passive slotted bonus now persists through a bar swap. That is very good. Lava Whip, Molten Whip Morph. The Seething Fury stacking bonus from this morph now operates as a slotted passive bonus that persists through bar swaps rather than only on the bar that the ability is slotted on. Seething Fury now requires you to be in combat to gain stacks to mitigate pre-buffing and burst potential. Draconic Power, Dragon Leap, Ferocious Leap Morph. The damage shield granted from this ultimate will now replace itself similarly to other shields rather than stack if you manage to cast the ultimate again that quickly. Earthen Heart, Magma Armor, Corrosive Armor Morph. This morph now disables ultimate generation while the ability is active. Corrosive has long been a potent ultimate for the Dragonknight at turning the tides in a battle by offering both immense defensive and offensive capabilities, but has slowly been power crept as more sources of ultimate generation have entered the game over time. To quell this, we're moving forward with an adjustment that will ensure the morph retains its stark power spike, but removing the ability to keep the effect up for prolonged periods of time. Necromancer is next. Bone Tyrant. Bone Armor fixed an issue where the corpse generated from this ability and its morphs had a chevron appear above it, as if it were a living entity. But don't give up, Skeleton. The corpse will continue to function for your typical nefarious deeds. Sorcerer is next. Dark Magic. Crystal Shard. Crystal Fragments morph. This ability's special activation now properly applies the Crystal Weaver bonus after activating. Daedric Summoning. Summon Unstable Familiar. Summon Unstable Clanfear morph. No! Never do that. Clanfears are the worst. Reduce the cost of this ability's active cast to 4,320, down from 4,500. Summon Winged Twilight. Also don't do that. Fixed an issue where some attacks from this ability and its morphs could not be dodged. Moving on to Templar. Dawn's Wrath, Radiant Destruction, Radiant Glory morph. This morph now also grants Magicka Restore when it deals damage, which is based on the missing health of the enemy, up to a maximum of 480 per tick. Restoring Light, Restoring Aura. This ability and its morphs' passive slotted bonuses now persist through a bar swap. Warden is next. Winter's Embrace, Frozen Gate, fixed an issue where the teleport for this ability and its morphs could pull enemies through some walls. Sleet Storm, Permafrost morph, reduce the damage per tick of this morph by approximately 60% to make up for the Glacial Presence passive buffing chilled, as this morph, despite its existing damage reductions, still did more damage than Northern Storm. Okay, they're bringing in a line. That's fine. That's fine. I was like, wow, that's a huge decrease, but okay, they're bringing it in line with the other one. That actually makes a lot of sense then. Next up is Weapon, Destruction Staff, Impulse, Pulsar morph, fixed an issue where the flame and frost versions of this morph would fail to properly damage enemies that were also immune to the minor mangle the ability is applied. The damage now properly applies to all targets in their radii, similar to Storm Pulsar. Restoration Staff, Blessing of Protection. This ability and its morphs now no longer attempt to heal pets in order to prevent them from taking the named buff effects that play a huge role in why the abilities are ran. Developer comment. We'll monitor this change to see if this is deemed worthwhile enough to keep, as it does hurt the skill's solo viability for helping protect your pets. True. Very true. I was wondering about that with all the other changes to the pet stuff, because it is going to affect people that do only play with their pets. Like Hawkeye and his Sork pets. Hey, listen, they're my buddies, and just to be clear, my pets consent to this play, because consent is key. Guild, Fighters Guild, Dawnbreaker. Increase the cone size of this ultimate and its morphs to 135 degrees, up from 120, to help them land slightly more consistently to closer enemies and better align to their visual effects. Undaunted, Radiate. Reduce the damage done by the synergy by 20% to ensure its power is more in line with other synergies. Trapping Webs. Fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs could be dodged. Fixed an issue where the synergy from these abilities could be used on enemies not inside the area of effect. Champion System. Craft Plentiful Harvest. Fixed an issue where the first stage of this node did not properly grant a 10% chance to harvest double resources. Yay, because that would have sucked. War Mount. Fixed an issue where your stamina would drain when dismounting in some situations while this node was slotted. Itemization and item sets. Consumables. Updated many siege tooltips to be more in line with other ability tooltips to improve clarity on what they do. Crafted sets. Cold Harbor's favorite fixed a rare issue where the set could go on cooldown even if honor failed to appear, which wasn't very honorable. I hate that they make me laugh so much. Dungeon and arena sets. Aegis Caller. Change this set's 3-piece bonus from stamina recovery to critical chance to better facilitate its proc requirements. Azura Blight Reaper. Fixed an issue where this set could generate stacks off some direct damage attacks, such as Daedric Mines. Pillar of Nirn. Reduce the total damage of this set proc by approximately 22%. Adjusted the 2-piece bonus to 657 critical chance rather than 1096 max stamina. Developer comment. We're finally looking at Pillar of Nirn's place in the game, as we've seen it pull ahead of a considerable number of other offensive options over time. Since Pillar only requires a stationary target for its initial hit, we're trying to better align its power to where it's weaker than a set like Aegis Caller that requires a more consistent stationary target, while being stronger than directly applied overtime effects like Viper's Sting or Unleashed Terror. Simultaneously, to ease the nerf to the proc and to aid in its approachability for build types, we're adjusting the bonus to be more impactful and universally powerful with critical chance. Cool. So that's the Pillar of Nirn nerf that people were talking about. On paper, it sounds okay. I'd be interested to see how the numbers have changed. Thank you so much to everyone that's here, by the way. I really appreciate you guys. I hope this is interesting. I hope you're learning things. I am, to be completely honest with you. I definitely am. And this is the sort of thing that when there's major updates, this is what I like to do, because it's about the only way that my brain can even attempt to remember some of this stuff. Attempt, by the way. Mythic items. Esoteric Environment Greaves. Fixed an issue where this set could fail to properly mitigate damage of attacks made by certain monsters. Overland sets. Ranger's Gate fixed an issue where this set's bonus to snare effectiveness reduction was not working properly. Trial sets. Eye of Navi. I just want to say Navi because I always say Navi. I don't know how to say their full name, okay? I'm sorry. You've got a nickname. The whole community gives it to you. I'm going to use it. So, Eye of Navi and Twilight Remedy updated these sets' tooltips to better describe their conditional requirements to gain their effects. They now clearly state the sets only activate on allies who activate a synergy you have granted them within a duration of that synergy being made available to the ally. Increase the window of opportunity for allies to activate the sets to 10 seconds, up from 5 seconds. Companions. General fix. Fix an issue where Azanda could appear again in some spots after recruiting him. He's a magician after all. Fixed an issue where companions would sometimes not trigger their idle voiceover lines if they were summoned but had not yet moved. Oh, you made them stop being quiet? Rapport. Bastion now correctly grants rapport for visiting both Ivea and Arteum every day. Next up is going to be quests and zones. We're more than halfway through, team, starting with Blackwood. Quests. The Emperor's Secret fixed an issue where knocking on Renna's door was exceedingly difficult unless you smashed your face up against it. Oh, Gina, please. Also, Gina, this has to say X, formerly known as Twitter. We need to get to know your ex, Gina. Gina, I want to know your ex. Sorry, I found that too funny. ESO X, my ex, puts Bastion in a burning cage full of cheese. Moving on, Clockwork City. Quests. To the Clockwork City, Devath's assistant no longer spawns when accepting this quest from the collections interface while within PvP-enabled world spaces. That is so specific. I love those kinds of bugs. Dragonhold. Monsters and NPCs general fixed an issue where some New Moon dreadnoughts could not be killed by the Blade of Woe or vampire feeding. Quests and zones, quests The Pride of Alkosh, you can no longer leave the instance without taking the Mask of Alkosh. Wow, that would be bad. That would be very frustrating. Next up is Elsewhere, quests and zones, quests Descendant of the Potentate fixed an issue where grouped players could block one another on the steps to solve the riddle or the elemental puzzle. That's funny. Also, I nearly read that as Decadent Potentate. So, Home Sweet Home quest, Savers can no longer be murdered with the Blade of Woe. Next up is Fire Song, quests and zones, quests Guardian of Ipholon. Fix some issues where steps in the back half of this quest didn't direct you properly on the map or on the compass. The Ivy Throne quest now has proper zone story pins on the map and compass. The Dream of Kasorian, the back half of the quest no longer tries to direct you out of the shrine on the map, even though all of the action takes place in the shrine chamber. Elder Verline now has a dagger and does not perform a certain dagger necessary action with his imagination. Good job. I'm glad he's not just imagining knifing someone. All right, next up we have High Isle, quests and zones. Quests, Blood, Books and Steel fixed an issue where you might be backtracked through the lower sanctum when told to find the upper sanctum. The All Flags Curse fixed an issue where you wouldn't be properly directed into the Monument Inn on the step to talk to Jane Emery. The Hidden Lord quest now uses proper zone story icons and pins in the journal. Very good. Tales of Tribute, General. All right. Hear ye, card sharps and Forumites. Serene Gerard, the Tribute Herald, is now only present in Wayrest's Cloudy Dregs Inn and won't yell at you until you get reasonably close to her. Thank you. So sick of her. Look, Serene, I like you. You're really cool. You're an interesting character, but my God, if you keep yelling at me, I'm gonna know what it feels like to be in my chat, okay? And I'm not meant to be there. I'm meant to be on this side of the camera. All right? Good. Adjusted the difficulty of Novice Tribute AI to make it a bit easier. Proficient AI now has access to the fully upgraded Almalexia deck, and Expert AI has access to the unupgraded Hermaeus Mora deck. Updated the help entries for Tribute to use the correct icon for draw. Screen effects will no longer persist during Tribute matches. Gameplay, Almalexia, Festival of Forbearance decreased from 4 to 3. Bardic Veneration decreased from 4 to 3. Mournhold Clergy decreased from 6 to 5. The Lesson of I Am decreased from 5 to 4. All discussing the cost there. The Druid King, Wisp Caller Totem changed the 3 coin on combo 3 to a 2 coin combo. Dralfey, am I saying that right? Dralfey, Right Caller, and Eldertide Fenwich remove the 1 coin on play. St. Pellin, Armory, move the +1 coin from play to combo 2. Rally moved 1 power from play to combo 2. Sorcerer King, Orgnum, Patron ability. Okay! Let's see what this does. When favored, change the card created from Malma Boarding Party to Somerset Sacking. Okay, I'm already happy with this just from that name change. That is a fantastic name change. I do care about the rest, but great name. 11 out of 10. Neutral, it's going to cost 3 coin rather than 2. And unfavored, the cost is reduced from 2 coin to 1. I don't know if this is the best decision. I love the name, don't get me wrong. I don't know about the rest of that. I'll have to play it and see how it goes. Serpent Guard Rider added +1 power to combo 2. Storm Shark Wavecaller increased power of base effect from 1 to 2. Grandmaster Delmine Halalu, Customs Seizure, increased acquire from 5 to 6. Fair enough. Sigic Lawmaster Celeris, or as we call them, Celery Stick. Sigic's Insight And Sephora's Insight changed on play, replace 1 to +2 coin on play. Time Mastery increased toss 4 on play to 5. That's a lot. 5 instead of 4. Rajin, the Purring Liar. Jeering and Prowling Shadow increased HP from 1 to 2. Interesting. Shadow's Slumber and Jarring Lullaby moved 1 coin from combo 2 to play. Is Solaris good with peanut butter? Only with consent. It works quite nicely on the tune of Summertime Madness. I got my Somerset sacking. Oh my God, we need to remake that song in ESO Patron song. Someone who's talented, write that. Do it. Where's Fox when you need them? El Rey Delion, where are you? You need to make this. I'm sure it'll be fine, copyright-wise. Go on then. I said someone talented. Did you just compliment me? I would never compliment you. You should know that. Fair call. Rewards. Increase the daily first PvP win of the day from purple to gold. Previously, this was only attainable by completing all 3 stages of Muranaj's daily challenge. New tapestry furnishings of Seeker, Aspirant, and Chromatic Reservoir can be discovered in Tribute Reward purses. And the UI deck fragments for the Druid King deck now have a unique icon. Imperial City is next. Quests and zones. Quest Speaking for the Dead fixed an issue where grouped players could multiply credit on the step to stuff geodes into skeletons like some kind of reverse pinata? Thanks, I love it. Markarth is next. Quest and Zone, Quest Reach Wind Depths fixed an issue where taking the lift to the servants' quarters would despawn companions and assistants. Murkmire, Quests, The Sounds of Home. This quest's pin no longer looks as if it's part of the zone story. Necrom, Quest Zones, Public Dungeons. The Underweave fixed an issue where this Public Dungeons group event didn't increment endeavors asking you to complete a public dungeon group event. That's good, because that would have been very frustrating. UI, General, the event exchange map pin is now properly centered in Necrom. Necrom item sets can now be found in their own section in both the set items collections menu and the Grandmaster crafting stations. Orsinium, Quest and Zones, Quest Invitation to Orsinium, Stuga. Wait, Stuga has been re-recorded and has new voice acting. Her lines also received some revision as a result of getting a new actor in the studio. Stuga is now relegated only to the stables in Shornhelm. Nothing personal, Stuga. But it is personal. Stop chasing me. I'll never forget. Oh my God, team, we need to go and listen to that voice line. Somerset, fixes improvement, quests and zones, quests, Manor of Masks. There is no longer an invisible alchemy nameplate hanging out near the desk by the stage. Base game, fixes and improvements, Alliance, War, and PvP. General, reduced the range of death notifications triggered by player enemy deaths in Cyrodiil from 600 meters down to 300 meters to help reduce the number of messages that are displayed in chat. Quests, the following quests goals are now group shared. Abominations, Black Dagger Supplies. Art and Animation, General, fixed an issue where trying to move while previewing outfit styles at a vendor would cause your character to be rotated incorrectly. Animations, fixed several dozen animation issues with conversations and postures across the game. Dyeing a weapon in the outfit station no longer plays the unsheath animation each time. Thank you. But also postures across the game. Is this going to stop you from like talking to people's like pelvis? You know, when like certain like ghosts and stuff, you're talking to them and you're staring directly at like their nips down to their pelvis? Is that going to stop that? Because that always makes me so uncomfortable. Visual effects. Fixed an issue where some mounts could briefly show effects at an incorrect location in character select when leaving the appearance change screen. Audio, General, fixed an issue where the wrong sound effect would play when making a purchase with event tickets. Crown Store and Crown Crates, General fixes. Crowns for players residing in Japan will now expire within 6 months from acquisition. Please see our terms and services for more details. Quickly previewing different mounts in the Crown Store will no longer cause visual glitches where your character is clipping through the ground. Dismounting from a holojack mount will no longer cause your character to pop up and down. I want to do that. I didn't even know that was a thing, but now I want to do that. Fixed an issue that caused the housing editor to open instead of a newly purchased crown crate when making said purchase while inside of a house. Dungeon and group content. General. The trial leaderboard UI will no longer omit the personal best scores from some trials. That would have been frustrating. Events and celebrations, general fixes, the Aurora Fire Pit assembly instructions and hide shoulder collectible are no longer hidden on Phyllis Dormer's store if you already own them. Good, because it is confusing when you're like, oh yeah, they're totally in that store. And if you already own them, you can't like confirm that sort of thing. It's still good to see those things. Exploration and itemization, general. Reduce the prices of the wares from the golden vendor? Let's have a crack at saying their name. All right. Adhazabi Abadaro. Did I do all right? Did I do okay? Please note there will be a pricing discrepancy for her wares between console and PC players until Update 40 does launch for consoles on November 14th. Overland jewelry will now cost 125,000 gold or 225,000 AP. Dungeon jewelry will now cost 200,000 gold or 375,000 AP. Masks and shoulders will remain the same. And remove the non-existent Shroom Tender robe from the collections menu. Itemization. Fixed an issue where the cartographer costume would preview as the Manamako costume. Housing. Furnishings. Fixed an issue with the furnishings Log Fallen Laurel and Tree Sturdy Poplar where the textures were stretched in unintended ways. Fixed an issue with the furnishing Mushrooms Volcanic Cluster where you could see through the base of the furnishing. Fixed an issue with the furnishings Alanor Sconce Candles and Alanor Sconce Candles Tall where they did not properly align to surfaces when the align feature was used inside the housing editor. Fixed an issue with the furnishing Indril Streetlight Full Stone where its idle animation did not play. Fixed a missing animated tag from the furnishings Deep Roots Undying Bloom and Khajiit Lantern Hanging. Fixed an issue when previewing the furnishing Statue of the Mother, the statue would face away from the camera. They're just shy. Adjusted the names of the following furnishings so that they follow our naming conventions for bookcases and bookshelves. Bookcases being shelving units that are freestanding and do not require a wall, while bookshelves are wall-mounted shelves and generally are not freestanding and do require a wall. Who is Laurel and why are they being so judgmental? They can stretch over, they please. Good one, Chip. That list is Alanor Bookcase Grand Full, Alanor Bookcase Polished, Alanor Bookcase Wall Time Worn, Ancient Nord Bookcase Narrow, Ancient Nord Bookcase Wide, Apocrypha Bookcase Corner, Apocrypha Bookshelf Intricate Filled, Argonian Bookcase Short Woven, Ayleid Bookcase Bare, Cold Harbor Bookcase Filled, Cold Harbor Bookcase Black Laboratory, Cold Harbor Bookcase Filled Wide, Cold Harbor Bookcase Filled Pillar, Elsewhere Bookcase Ancient Stone Full, Elsewhere Bookshelf Elegant Wooden. There's so many bookshelves. You don't notice until you have to read them all. Elsewhere Bookcase Elegant Wooden Full, Elsewhere Bookcase Short Elegant, Elsewhere Bookcase Short Elegant Full, Elsewhere Bookcase Wooden, Elsewhere Bookcase Wooden Full, High Elf Bookcase Short Verdant, High Elf Bookcase Short Winged, High Elf Bookcase Verdant, High Elf Bookcase Winged, Khajiit Bookcase Short Arched, Merkmire Bookcase Full, Merkmire Bookcase Grand, Merkmire Bookcase Grand Full, Nord Bookcase Short Alcove, Orcish Bookcase Engraved, Orcish Bookcase Peaked. If you ever tell me that you don't have enough bookcases, bookshelves, I will slap you. Miscellaneous General fixed an issue where you could not log in to some characters if you had too many outgoing gifts. Gifts are now limited to 500 at a time. Fixed an issue where you could not move your character for a couple of seconds after using a way shrine while having a polymorph equipped. Fixed an issue where skipping the tutorial after creating a new character and before logging into another character after purchasing a new DLC would not place you in the most recently purchased DLC starting area. Fixed an issue where your mount speed could go above 60 in some rare cases. Former leaders of deleted guilds that were listed on the Guild Finder will no longer receive excessive mail about their guild listing being removed. Fixed an issue if you had ancient grains and platings in your inventory, you could occasionally have difficulty loading into a new zone. Fixed a rare crash that could occur when saving camera settings. Monsters and NPCs. Monsters. Dragons are no longer affected by minor mangle procs from hemorrhage. Dark Aeon Sentrat nameplates are no longer incorrectly offset from the monster. Several werewolf behemoth monsters no longer have tiny weapons in their paws after transforming. How cute. Quests and zones. General. Fixed a number of typos across conversations, books, and responses throughout the game. Adjusted yet another few hundred clipping, floating, or inaccessible creatures, resource nodes, books, and monsters. Added error messaging to indicate why you cannot use a booster for the Mages Guild, Fighters Guild, or Undaunted. Bankerai. Raiders at the Crossing. Nightseer now has a proper nameplate over her head. Betnik. Improve the accuracy of your character's position on the map while inside Bloodthorn Lair. Again, that's good. I remember that being really annoying. Craglorn. Move the Stargazer Herald somewhat closer to Craglorn proper. It is now outside of Hallam's Stand in Bankerai. Fixed an issue where the Exalted Viper encounter could repeatedly repeat again and again, repeatiously. Gina, please blink twice if you need help. Deshawn. Fixed an issue with Falvis Raram in Mournhold, who was not properly acting as a navigator with the quest pin system when connecting from Mournhold to either Wayrest or Eldenroot. Main quest. Soul Shriven in Cold Harbor. This quest now uses proper main story icons on its journal entry, compass pins, and map pins. Fixed an issue in Bleakrock Isle, where you could hug a wall and despawn the Prophet after escaping Cold Harbor. Hugging walls, team. It gets you places. Don't you mean blink once, just repeatiously? No! No, I don't mean that. Rivenspire. Shornhelm Divided. Fixed an issue where killing Juberic and Orlazarg did not advance their respective hint conditions. Shadowfen of dubious value. Fixed an issue where the cart examination would not let you read the details if it is the last thing that you investigate. That's irritating. Blackguard enemies now properly drop zone loot in Chidmoska Ruins. We like that. All right, UI fixes. So the general ones updated the OTP messaging to indicate you may not have received an OTP email due to an incorrect user ID. Added the option to reveal your password on the login screen. Fixed a number of issues with off-centered maps in various spaces. Added some error messages to a number of doors across the game to explain why they are uninteractable. Fixed an issue where invisible NPCs would sometimes display a nameplate over their heads. Loot stream entries from different bonus drop sources no longer merge into a single entry. Stolen items will now display the correct value in your inventory after using a fence, specifically in the keyboard UI. Fixed an issue where opening a dialogue directly from a right-click context menu in the sort filter list could cause the highlight of that sort filter list selection to become stuck. Wow, that would be irritating. Fixed an issue where entering combat would not close the companion outfit screen. Fashion is really important, okay? Just give us a second. Fixed an issue where keybinds could display incorrectly in various help and tutorial texts. Wow, that would have been difficult. Accessibility mode removed a reference to screen narration from the initial accessibility mode prompt. Gamepad mode removed reference to a change email button from the resend email verification tooltip. Fixed an issue where the sort header selection for level in the group menu was being narrated as LVL instead of level. Help and tutorials added information in the champion point help entries with a reminder that the points can be spent on any character on that account, including sub-level 50 characters. Updated the help entry for gifting with the current gifting qualifications. Screen narration fixed an issue where the invalid name tooltip in the armory settings dialog was not narrating. and target markers. Target markers will now be removed from players' characters in a group when they enter a battleground or citadel. Interesting. Interesting. Is that everything? Is that actually everything, team? Did we do it? Did we do it? We did it? We did it! Yay! And it only took me like 2.5 hours. There's a lot of reading, to be fair. It's a lot of reading. So I hope that that helps, just hearing some of that rather than just reading it by yourself. I really do. And I appreciate you all for letting me do that because it helps me as well. Oh no, you missed some bookcases. Shut up, Jellyware. Congrats on finishing the intro page of those nAtCh poets. So on to page 2 of 120. Now! Oh, fantastic. Fan-freaking-tastic.